I want to see if you give me the timeline like you gave me yesterday.
You mean for the funeral?
No, for like when Granny met Cleve.
Oh, you don't know.
You was telling me everything, but it's kind of
years ago. She met him like in the 40s because Rodney was the first child.
No, okay, so no. Start with
when they got married.
Yeah, what year was that?
April 3rd, 1951. They got married.
Hold on.
In Marietta.
Hold on.
Oklahoma.
April 3rd, 1951. They got married.
They got married in Marietta, Oklahoma. Because I had to call to find out.
So, how many kids did they already have?
2. They had Juliana and Rodney.
Oh, okay. Before they was married.
Before they were married.
And then so when they got married, Kenneth was born.
Okay, they got married right. She was pregnant with Kenneth because Kenneth was born in November. She got married in April. And when she got married in April...
Oh, okay. So she was already pregnant, though.
She was pregnant. See, that was 51.
So he was the first child.
Kenneth was the first child when they were married. And Kenneth was born...
They got married. He was born. They was already married, though.
Yeah, they were already married, but she was pregnant before she got married.
So Ken was born in 51?
1951. He's born
November
5th.
1951.
1951.
Okay.
That's when Ken was born.
So when did they get separated? What year was that?
They separated in 1960. And that must have been around, I don't know, maybe it was like August, or anywhere from August on back. They separated.
Okay, so when they was married, where'd they live?
Okay, when they first got married, they probably lived with Mama Essie. Because that was 51. She didn't die to 53. We might have lived with her short term.
1951.
But we moved to East Street in somewhere between 51 and 53.
So in 51, they lived at Mama Essie.
They
lived at Mama Essie's house.
We had to move in. He probably moved in with Mama in 51. Because we didn't live with Miss Upchurch. I remember.
51.
And they didn't have
Mama
no
Essie house.
So they had to live with.
But Mama Essie was still alive?
She died in 53.
But she was, so 51, they lived at Mama Essie's house?
We probably lived with Mama Essie. We lived with her. She was in there too. We were all in there with Mama Essie. Because A&M used to be up there all the time too. But we probably lived with Mama Essie in 51. And somewhere in 51 after they got married, we moved to East Street. I don't know what.
In 51?
It could have been 51. It could have been 52. But we moved to East Street. I remember we lived over there for a little while. I don't know how long. But we moved to East Street.
Just Cleve, Granny, and you guys. Nobody else?
Just us. The children, his children, me, Mama, him. We moved to East Street. And Kenna was born then. Kenna was born before we... Kenna was born before
What about George?
Okay, so when we moved to East Street in 1953, February, George was born. He was born in a house on East Street with a midwife. Roxy Stevenson was her name.
What's her name?
Roxy Stevenson.
Roxy Stevenson?
Miss Roxy.
Roxy?
R-O-X-Y.
Roxy
Stevenson. She must have been a cousin.
So George was born in the East Street house.
He was born in the East Street
Is the house still there?
I have a picture of the house.
It's still there?
Yeah, I have the picture on the internet. The house is torn down, I think, now. But I took a picture before they tore it down. And it looked kind of crummy when I see it. But anyway, they lived on East Street in 53 first, when George was born in the house. And then sometime after that time, we moved to White Street. How many was of us?
How many was alive at the time?
My great-grandma was still living when we went to White Street. She was still living. 1953, we moved somewhere in that year after George was born. We moved to White Street.
That's the same year Mama Essie died?
That's the same year Mama Essie died. So she didn't die till August. So somewhere after February, when George was born, to August, we moved. We moved to White Street. We lived across the street from Ronnie's dad, Delbert.
Hold on, and that was in 53?
That was in 53. I remember when we moved, because George was born in the house on East Street. But we ended up in White Street. And I know why, because when they told me she died, I walked from White Street all the way back to 2nd.
White Street moved in 53?
We moved in 53 to White Street. From East Street to White Street. We was on White Street, East Street first, in 53 in February. Somewhere between February and August, we moved to White Street.
In 53?
Yeah, it was in 53.
George is alive.
Yeah, George.
Kenneth, George, you, Rodney.
Right, we were all there.
Violina
was there too. We were all there. All Mama's kids.
And then, okay, so that's
So in
53.
53, in August, my Essie died. When she died, I remember, I remember because I say I walked from White Street all the way over to her house. When
The day she died?
Got killed. When she got killed. So anyway.
The day she died?
Same day she died, I walked over there. Because the rest of the people were already there, and I just walked. I was, what, 8 years old or something? I was 8. When she died, I was 8. So I walked over to White Street. It's Ardmore, you can walk anywhere. And then, when Mommy Essie was buried, we moved into second. The whole family, all of us.
Move where?
And we moved into where Mommy Essie used to live. When Mommy Essie died, she left. She was gone. They buried her and everything. We took over the house. Cleve.
But I thought y'all moved to White Street in 53.
We did. We moved to White Street. We were on East Street in 53. We moved to White Street in 53. She died. We moved into the house on second. That same year.
So you didn't live in the White Street that long?
No, we just done it short term.
Okay.
I don't know what month we moved there. It could have been like a couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of something. But we stayed on White Street short term. We stayed on East Street short term. Then we moved. When she died, we moved into the house. So all of us moved into that house. Who was born? George was the last one. Beverly wasn't born yet. Beverly was born in the house.
You said Ronnie's dad lived on White Street?
Across the street, on White Street. He lived right across the street from us on White Street.
Was Ronnie living with him?
I don't remember Ronnie. See, I don't know what Ronnie did. He might have been there. Who knows? He was all over the place. But we moved across from them. I don't remember seeing Ronnie there. So
Delbert?
I remember Delbert and Hildred and all them, but I don't remember Ronnie. So
Delbert, that's Delbert's house, you're saying?
We're across from Delbert's. It was Delbert's house.
Delbert Johnson?
Delbert Johnson. We lived across the street from them. I don't know. It's like they were here on this corner, and it was a street right here, and we lived down there. We was all on White Street on the same side of the street. And then I walked over, and then when the funeral was over in 53, we moved into that house because the house had been empty. Mommy Essie died.
What month she died? August?
August 9th.
Oh, that's right.
53. She got killed.
And then, okay, so when did they split up? What year was it?
Okay, so that was 53. She died. We moved in. We stayed there about 9 years. So in
After 53?
After 53, we stayed there about 9 years. Because by 1960, Mama moved to Dallas. But Cleve had already left months earlier. I don't know when he left. He left in 60 somewhere. 1960. He went to, she put him out, I think. Or he just left. They had a big fight, and he left. And,
Did they get divorced?
No, Mama got divorced in California.
Oh, okay.
She divorced him in.
So they separated.
They just separated. And he moved right down the street on F Street, if you know where F Street is.
No, not really.
Where Dwight and them lived, that's in the middle of the street. That street going straight down to
You
the
mean
church.
Uncle Leonard?
Huh?
Uncle Leonard's house?
No, we talk about where Dwight lives.
Right now?
We live where Dwight lives. Where Dwight lives right now, that's where our house was. Until Aunt Willie moved the house to Northtown.
So Cleve moved.
He moved in 1960. I remember.
Cleve moved. He moved.
He lived there with his brother.
In 1960.
1960 he
With
moved.
his brother.
Yeah, he moved with his brother Henry.
On
Henry
F
Upchurch.
Street. Henry Upchurch.
Yeah, because they lived right there close to the church, Mount Zion Church. It was on one of them
Oh,
little
okay,
shops.
so they live by the
Renee lived, one of them little houses.
So he left, and you saying Granny left too?
No, not right away. He left sometime within that year.
1960.
January down, from 53, from 60. He left sometime in that year. I don't know when he actually left. I just know one day he was gone. He had left. Mama, they had a big fight, and he left. And he moved in with his brother, right down the street from us. And Miss Upchurch lived off of First Avenue. So she was down there close too. And Miss Pirtle, she lived on the other side of the church.
Who's Miss Pirtle?
That would have been Willette's grandmother. They were all on that same street. There's a lot of black people.
Willette's father's mother?
Who? Willette's father's mother, yeah. Miss Pirtle. They all lived, Miss Upchurch and Miss Pirtle all lived on First Avenue. You go down to my F Street, the street right in the middle of our house would be in the middle of the street where Dwight's was. You drive straight down that street, and on the left, Miss Pirtle lived there. On the right, Miss Upchurch lived over there. So he didn't live with Miss Upchurch, he lived with Uncle Henry, who was right before you get to the church, coming down F Street. That's where they lived. That's where Cleve moved to. He lived there, and that was 1960. I know it had to be 60. Then my mother decided she was moving to Dallas.
But y'all stayed at Mama Jesse's house for 9 years after she passed away.
We stayed 9 years at first because we came back.
Yeah.
Because we left and went to Dallas. I think in 2 weeks, Mama left.
So after Cleve left, Granny moved out of the house.
She moved out, moved to Texas.
And moved to Texas?
She moved to Dallas.
With who?
A&M and them lived there. So she moved in with A&M.
She did?
Mama. Mama took all those when she left. We all went together.
So all y'all went with her?
We went on the bus. We went to Dallas to stay with A&M because she was leaving Ardmore going to Texas. She was going to get a job and all this stuff.
Who, Granny?
Yeah, that's what she said. And she took her children, the boys, sent them to their father. So he kept them. And the 4 of us went to Dallas to live. So Mama stayed in Dallas and no more than a month, but about 2 weeks. And she had to take the bus to work, and it's hard. And Dallas is huge. So she got tired and she quit and left. She went back to Ardmore.
So basically all the females went to Dallas, the males stayed in Ardmore.
No. Oh, the children.
Yeah.
The children. But every time she made a move, she sent the boys to their dad. So they stayed with Uncle Henry. All, the 3 boys stayed with Uncle Henry and their dad. And Kendall said they slept on the floor. All that of stuff.
So that's why they went to church a lot.
Yeah, well,
they was always with him.
No, they was going to church way before then.
Oh, okay.
And some churches take George and Kendall to church with them every Sunday. And they went to every service till nighttime. Every Sunday. They had to do it because they were little kids.
Okay.
She was sitting right beside her. I can't remember. Look over there. She's sitting there. Here's her 2 grandchildren. Not Rodney.
Where's Rodney?
What?
Where's Rodney?
Running wild, crazy. Rodney was his own thing. He was like an adult.
He's older.
Child.
He's older.
He was older. He was responsible. He had to have a job. He needed money. He liked the girls. Rodney was a wild man. He was wild.
So after you guys came, so she was there 2 weeks. Dallas came back.
Mama said, I can't remember exactly. That was my better act, but I think somewhere around 2 weeks, Mama left. Mama said, I'm leaving.
And where'd she go? Where'd she go?
She went back to Ardmore to the house on 2nd. She said, I'm going back home. Because it was too hard. She didn't have no car.
So I'm missing the house on 2nd. So you went to White Street and then?
And I said when Mommy Essie died in 1953, shortly after she died, they buried her and everything. We moved into the house.
Is that where her house is on 2nd Street?
It was on 2nd Avenue.
Oh, okay.
2nd Avenue. And we moved into the house, all of us. We moved from White Street
Came back
Mommy Essie's house, and we lived there for 9 years.
2nd Avenue. So, so she came back from Dallas in about 2 weeks or so and came back to Mama Essie's house.
That's right. And she thought she could just move in, because we weren't paying no rent. But Uncle Man...
So you weren't paying no rent before?
No rent. We didn't pay no rent.
After Mama Essie died, y'all came back and you weren't paying rent there. The house was paid for.
We weren't paying rent when we lived in there for those few years, those 9 years. We weren't paying no rent. So then when we came back, Uncle Man had taken over the house. And he said you have to pay rent. So Mama had to fight with him.
Okay,
And so that was 1961. And I was, running from
Came back 2nd Avenue in 1961.
I came back. Mama came back in 1960. When she left in August, probably by September, she was back. I don't think Bella and them went to school. But I had enrolled in school, and I was taking a bus to get to school. I was in, I think, North Dallas.
So you stayed there?
I stayed there for 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Because Aunt Emma told
This is still 1960?
That was in 1960, Mama left. So in 1960, Aunt Emma said, you can't take her out of school. She's in high school. I was in 10th grade. She said, so she let her stay down here with us, and the semester's over, we'll bring her back. So I stayed a whole semester, from 60 all the way up to 61, like January, February. I stayed, and I got my first semesters of schooling at a Catholic school.
Who was living with Aunt Emma at that time?
Aunt Emma had Uncle Bill, her husband, Willette, Rosa, Sandra, Earl. I can't remember Ronnie. Ronnie could have been there, I just don't remember him. He could have been living with his dad. Because he was up and, back and forth with the dad, the mom, the dad, the mom. But Earl was there. I remember Earl. Because they went to this school called Madison High School, and we were living in Oak Cliff. They lived off of Windelton. That was the name of the street.
So Earl
was there. I remember Earl.
Rosa,
Sandra, Willette.
Willette, four people.
Ronnie could have been there. I just don't remember.
And where's Dottie?
She ain't already adopted her.
Oh.
So she's with Aunt Iola. Aunt Iola adopted her as a baby.
And what month was this?
This was probably, you mean when we went to Dallas?
Yeah, when you were going to school in Dallas.
I went to Dallas from probably September to, because we came down in August, I think, right after Mommy Essie died, I think. I mean, not Mommy Essie. Right after school was out, somewhere in there. It's probably by August we was there for sure. Because Julie and I don't think they went to school at all. They didn't have time. And I think they couldn't get their records and all that kind of stuff. So they didn't ever go to school. That's what Beverly told me. They didn't go to school. And then 2 weeks she was gone back. And then I stayed. And when I stayed, I had to go to, I remember Kennedy died in 63. I got here. No. So Kennedy was president. I remember that. Because they were doing the Cold War. I remember them talking
He died in Texas, didn't he?
He died in Texas.
Dallas, right?
I was in California when he died.
Oh, yes, right.
But this was 60 and 61. I was in 10th grade, and I was taking classes, and when I came back to Douglas, they were taking something totally different. But I remember it well.
So you went to the Catholic school?
I was at St. Peter's.
St. Peter's?
I went to St. Peter's Academy for about 4 months. And when the semester was over, Aunt Emma told Mama, I'm bringing her back. Because she told me I couldn't leave. She said, you can't keep taking her out of school. It's hard on you to be moving here to there. Mama and Aunt Emma both did a lot of moving. Yeah,
okay, so
60 and 61 for the semester. The fall semester of 60 to 61. Then when the next semester is just ready to start, I went back to Ardmore. And my mother was on second then. She had moved back into the house. She still ain't paid Uncle Man no rent. But Uncle Man was demanding she paid rent. And she didn't pay no rent.
So when she came back, were everybody living together?
Yeah, they all came back. So when Mama came back, the whole family got back together, except for the man, the father. He didn't come back. He never came back.
So when you came back, what school did you go to? Douglas?
Went right back to Douglas like I never left.
In 10th grade still?
I was in 10th grade. I was in the second semester. I had missed all the first semester of geometry. So I started in the second semester. I never learned nothing in geometry. But she messed up my schooling. And I don't know what happened to Beverly and Violina, because they were like, Violina was like in 8th grade. And I think Beverly was like, because I was in 10th, Rodney was in, Violina might have been in 6th grade. I was in 10th, Rodney probably was in 8th, and Violina probably was in 6th grade, I think. But I thought she was in 8th grade, because I know I was in 10th. I was in 10th grade for sure.
Was you singing at that time?
I was singing. I've been singing since I was what?
Didn't you guys have a group?
Yeah, I think I was a freshman when we started singing.
Oh.
So I did lead. They didn't need me. They had a lot of people. About 5 or 6 of us. And the word that did the lead singing, that was the girl was still there.
What was the name of that group again?
Teen Queens.
Teen Queens.
We were first the Teen Tones, and we changed it to the Teen Queens.
Teen what?
Teen Tones, T-O-N-E-S.
Teen Tones?
Teen Tones, then we had the Arborite. Teen Queens. We became the Teen Queens.
So basically you was in a group when you was in high school.
I was in a whole lot of stuff. I was in a singing group. We was in a singing group. Sally told Mr. Wilson said we were professionals. And we were professionals. We couldn't sing in the talent contest. But we weren't. We were just...
Was y'all getting money?
We made money. Yeah, we made money.
And you were professionals.
No, we didn't do it. We didn't make it like that. We had a group, a singing group, and we sponsored a dance. That's what we did, a dance. We sponsored a dance once. And we brought this group in from Texas. And they performed for us. And then they asked us would we go touring with them. I think that was when we were seniors. And my mother said, no, you can't go nowhere with them. You can't go, no. All the parents said no.